There was a particular question last night, Roger Federer's press conference last night after his loss to Grigor Dimitrov in the U.S. Open quarterfinals that I saw used in an article late before I went to bed. I wish I had the article for you. But they took this line from Federer and used it in a dark, ominous, foreboding way. Take a listen to the question.
This would be the first Grand Slam semifinal final without two of the big three. What does that mean for the men's tennis scene in your opinion?
Not much.
Not much. Now, of course, it sounds sad, just like in the Novak Djokovic press conference. After you lose, it's heartbreaking for the players. So I could see how, whatever I read, I can't even remember what the headline said, but it basically took this as the big three, not much left for them. They're all finished. But I don't think it's that at all. I think it's much like when Roger Federer first lost in the quarterfinals at a major. Roger's consecutive semifinal streak had broken. And they asked Roger a pretty similar question. And Roger Federer basically said, hey, look, I still have the longest quarterfinal streak intact. It's not like I'm not going to make another semifinal. It's not the end of the world for me. And I feel this is the same answer here. Not much as in, it doesn't mean much. Oh, two of the big three aren't in the semifinals for the first time in decades? Okay, it was going to happen at some point. So don't worry, lady. Two, maybe three of the big three will be in another major semifinal faster than you can say Australian Open. Oh, it hurts. But the coffee tastes good. Welcome to the Coffee Break Tennis Podcast. Sorry we're not doing a full video. I planned to do it last night. Had no idea the match would go past midnight. And busy schedule yesterday, all the way leading up to the moment. Right, I got there right at the match was like Federer was up 2-1 or 3-0, whatever. He was up a break in the first set. That's when I first arrived to the TV, to Coffee Break Tennis headquarters. And now I'm rushing this to race off and join Peter Tennis Freeman to start shooting promotional videos for TennisCon 3 live at Nuka Ranch. Super excited for that. Super not excited for the rest of the U.S. Open. I mean, actually I am. I'm curious to see these new faces. Matteo Berrettini, very good young player. Exciting to see him. Monfils coming back. That's fun. Rafa's playing so well, even though it will pain me to see him get closer to Roger's record if he wins the U.S. Open. It's still fun to watch Rafa play this aggressive. And, all kinds of stuff about Rafa is nice. Watching him hit forehands is just always fun, the way he hits it so violently. But to see him step in and play more like a Roger Federer and really go after the opponents right away, it's a lot of fun to watch that. And of course, I'm very curious to see what the heck is going to happen with Medvedev. Before we talk about Federer stuff, really quick, we don't have much time today, so let's just talk about Wawrinka, Medvedev, and credit to Dimitrov. Best match he's played all year. The serve, he took care of it. You didn't see all the double fault. Not too long ago, Grigor Dimitrov was like Sasha Zverev. Double faulting all the time, all kinds of problems. It wasn't that long ago. He lost to some guy named King. Maybe his name's Kevin King, some guy I'd never heard of. Some college kid, some punk from college, won his first ever pro ATP match at the tournament right here in Atlanta, where I'm from. And Dimitrov just looked hopeless in that match. That was only a couple months ago. Amazing to see where he is right now. Semifinals and beating an injured, let's face it, an injured Roger Federer. We'll play clips from Federer's press conference in a second and talk about that. Anyways, credit to Dimitrov for playing well enough to not let Federer, get out of there. Because now you have 2 days off. And that's what I'm wondering about Medvedev. Because Medvedev starts off looking injured. The commentators are basically saying, oh, there's no way Medvedev's going to win. They almost borderline made it sound like he wouldn't be able to finish the match. And then, now I heard rumors that it was reported on Amazon Prime tennis coverage, something I've never seen because I've got ESPN, I've got Tennis Channel, I've got Tennis TV, so I've never used it. But I heard they were reporting Stan got sick after the win over Djokovic. So if that's true, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because by the end of that match, and for really the whole match, the person who really looked injured was not so much Medvedev. At times, Medvedev looked like maybe his movement was a little hurt early, but then all of a sudden he was moving great. And when in that first set, when he wins, it looks like maybe he's not moving as well. He's not sure. It was his left quad, maybe. He's all taped up, kinesio tape everywhere. But then he hits, the drop shots, the lobs. He used every shot in the book and showed how extremely high the tennis IQ is. It takes me back to when Paul Anacone said at the beginning of the year, I think by the end of the year, Medvedev will be the top-ranked next-gen player. And then months after that, I said, ha, 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 you're wrong, Paul Anacone. I was right. Tsitsipas is the one. But ha, 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 joke's on me. Year's not over. Maybe it can flip again. But for now, Medvedev is the top next-gen player. And you could see it because he could do anything and everything. I mean, he was even coming to the net. Stan Wawrinka, he looked like the guy who was actually hurt. You felt like after that first set, well, Wawrinka, if you can just run Medvedev all over. But Wawrinka wasn't able to freely hit his shots, kind of like Federer's forehand last night. Just not able to really let loose on the forehand. And the backhand up the line never worked. Matt from Racket Comedy, who we love here, Racket Comedy YouTube channel. Matt took some great footage of Medvedev and Tsitsipas. This is the match where the BS Russian thing was born after the match was over. Except Steph didn't say BS. Tsitsipas said, you're a BS Russian. And Medvedev says, why don't you come say it like a man? You like a boy. Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight, Stefanos? It was very funny. So I call him the BS Russian now. Anyways, take a look at that, and you can kind of see how Medvedev's ball stays very low. I thought Federer had a real chance against Medvedev, especially if Medvedev was hurt. That's why it's kind of heartbreaking, because I thought Federer gets through Dimitrov for sure. Kind of heartbreaking. Extremely heartbreaking. Take a look how low the ball stays versus Tsitsipas's ball. And don't get me wrong, Tsitsipas hits a fairly flat ball, but look how his has got a lot more shape than Medvedev's. Medvedev is just like a laser coming from high up because he's tall and going straight down. Take a look. So one of the things the commentators were talking about is, I'm sure you saw it if you watched the match, Stan Wawrinka made 0 backhands down the line. That's one of his shots that he lights you up with. And he missed all of them. And I can't remember which commentator, maybe Killer Cahill, Darren Cahill said it, that the problem for Stan could be that the Medvedev ball is always so flat and so low. And we know this is a dead court, as Roger Federer said. It's not bouncing very high. Maybe that made it so that Wawrinka wasn't able to hit his normal shot. Just having that backhand lower than usual, he was never comfortable to get it over the high part of the net and go up the line. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The whole match was weird. At times it felt like no one wanted to win. It was kind of ugly. A lot of ugly tennis lately. Ugly when Federer's hurt. Anyways, all right, that's enough of that. So we know our first semifinal, it's set. Grigor Dimitrov, who cannot be enjoying, I'm sure he's having fun right now, but if you look at headlines, all over the place, Baby Fed is in headlines. Baby Fed beats Fed, and Grigor has to hate that. So let's go to the clips from the Federer match, and then I got to get out of here. First up, what happened? 24 seconds into the press conference, Federer right away addresses the injury issue, but doesn't want to make much of it.
Well, I just needed some treatment on my upper back, neck. Just needed to try to loosen it up, crack it, and see if it was going to be better. This is Grigor's moment and not my body's moment, so.
That's classy. Roger Federer acknowledges it's very true. He was winning most of the match. Take a listen.
Moments I was in the lead, most of the time. A chance to come back in the fourth, so start to the fourth wasn't ideal, start to the fifth wasn't ideal, so then I was running behind, so that was tough.
Now right there, Federer talks about he has those chances to come back in the fourth, and usually if we had more time, I would rewatch that section so I could tell you point by point, game by game, exactly what happened. I believe the second set was where Federer had a real chance because he breaks back and then he can't hold to tie it. And then in the fourth set, what Federer is talking about, this has got to be where at 4-5, he had Dimitrov down love 40. I could have mixed those two sets up, but I'm pretty sure that's how it played out. So Roger, love 40. And then again, after deuce, gets another break point, maybe two even. But yeah, I think it was 5 chances to break. Roger can't do it. And at this point, Roger had been hurting. Play this clip really quick.
I was happy. I was up 2-1.
Physically, come on.
Oh, physically, yeah. I felt it the whole time. So that's it. So I was able to play with it. My bad not to win.
So I'm pretty sure in that clip, Rogers, he's being very brief, but I'm sure he's trying to say that this injury affected him the whole time. Here's another. Someone asked him, when did it start? Take a listen to this.
You did the back on an RI speed.
Had a little bit this afternoon, but that's it. I was able to play, so it's okay. It's how it goes, and I tried my best, and it's by far not too bad to give up or anything. And Grigor was able to put me away, and I fought with what I had, and that's it. So it's okay.
So it really hurts for Federer fans because you think like, okay, you looked great killing David Goffin. How did this injury come up? You weren't playing. It didn't happen during a match. And he says a little this afternoon. So it just sprung up out of nowhere. I mean, these things happen. And as we get older, they happen more frequently. Anyways, so there you go. It's pretty clear. And I'll just say one thing, because when I first heard commentators, I think it was the 4th set when they first said, it looks like Roger's shaking out his back or something. And then I saw enough serves. And if you look at average serve speeds, they stayed pretty normal throughout the match. I think every set goes down like 1 mile an hour, his average first serve, going down to 112 in the 5th set, I believe, are the numbers, or maybe 111. But I saw enough. I was getting angry. I was like, how dare you say that? His back is fine. Look, he just hit a 123 mile an hour serve. Or maybe at that point he wasn't hitting 123 anymore. Although, if you look at, let's just bring up the stats. Not for you. No time to edit. I'll look at them. You can trust me. 121 is the fastest first serve in the 4th, and 117 in the 5th. Yeah, in the 5th set, I did notice, like, okay, the serve speed is coming down a little. But I think, as you heard Roger say, the upper back neck area. This isn't the lower back injury that Federer's had before that kills his serve speed. So, like I said, I was getting angry in the match thinking, how dare these commentators spread this propaganda, this anti-Fed propaganda. He's hitting big serves still. He's fine. He hit 121 in the 4th set. He's all right. He's averaging 113 still. That's just fine for Roger Federer. And maybe that's why we saw Federer's real problem would be in the unforced errors, particularly on the forehand side. Overall stats, unforced errors 60 from Roger Federer. Still managed to hit 40 winners. I think this is why we saw so many misses on the forehand. I was a little worried just seeing that, because typically you can see Federer miss because of timing issues. But then, and we've seen it so many times at tournaments, 3rd, 4th round, he's got it figured out. He's playing well. You don't see him dip back down to the lowest of lows with the timing again. And I thought that was very strange early on, and I was a little worried about Roger physically. I was thinking, is there something going on? Pretty early in the match, actually. I'd say 2nd or 3rd set. So I think it is safe to say that he could have had an injury starting earlier in the afternoon before the match started, and it could have affected his ground strokes from start to finish of this match. I mean, it sounds like Roger said it in that one clip. I felt it the whole time. My bad not to win. So just want to clear that up for anyone who's wondering, why was Federer still hitting fairly big serves? I think it's because the lower back is what would have thrown off the serve speeds. The upper back, if the lower back is hurting, it's hard the kinetic chain is going to break down. It's hard to get that power to transfer up. But the upper back, I feel like you're going to get a good transfer up and get the momentum into your serve still. Maybe. I'm no doctor, but I haven't had an upper back injury, so I can't really tell you what that feels like. I know when the lower back hurts, you can barely serve at all. You can barely move, really. The lower back just ruins everything. Anyway, so there you go. That's my explanation for that. I think that's why we saw a lot of spraying of the ground strokes and the serve speed not affected too much. So take a listen to this. This, to me, is key.
Moments I was in the lead, most of the time. A chance to come back in the 4th.
Don't forget that one service game that set that up, that gave him chances to break. because if he didn't hold, he would have been toast. Roger had like a 14-minute service game. Listen to what Dimitrov had to say about that. This is very interesting to me.
Injury was or whatever was bothering him, but I think even when I lost that game, I was actually smiling going through the changeover, because I was like, well, that game must have hurt him a lot, and for me it filled me up. So I try to use that negative sort of situation into my positive.
I mean, he knew it. Dimitrov knew it. I mean, he knew Federer was hurt, but I mean, he knew that game, it almost would have been better for Roger just to let that, see, I don't want to say let it slip. It almost would have been better for Roger to just rush to the net and try to play the points really fast and not let that game go so good and just lose it. Maybe. It's so tough to say. I hate the idea of tanking sets to set yourself up for the next set. I don't like it when I wouldn't do it. I like that Federer doesn't do it. I understand when other players do it. I'm not a big fan of it. Anything else? Any other clips that we could play? I think that's it. That's enough of that. So there you go. Heartbreaking for the Federer fans. A big opportunity for Rafa Nadal. And I saw an article just the other day showing how the finals ticket prices were soaring at the U.S. Open because everyone was assuming there would be a Roger and Rafa final. And I sure was as well. My prediction's very wrong in the end, but I'll do one more. I think Medvedev, thanks to the 2 days off that Federer would have been able to really utilize. When you play the first quarterfinals up Tuesday, you get Wednesday and Thursday off, and then you come back Friday at 4 p.m. When the sun's out, Federer would have really been set up well. I think he would have made it through. But now I'm giving, Dimitrov credit to him, and it would be great to see him make it. But I think Medvedev is going to have just enough time and rest now to get out there and win, because we saw what he did to Wawrinka, even though Wawrinka was playing terrible often in the match. But Medvedev, able to do so much when he wasn't 100%. If he's feeling better on Friday, he's going to look at Dimitrov and say, no problem for me here. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to get my final. And I even give Medvedev a shot to beat Rafa Nadal. But it very, very much looks like the Rafa Nadal U.S. Open now. All right, hit the music. Thanks for listening. We're getting out of here. Tonight, we will be back with a show talking about what happens with all the matches. If it's very late, we'll do a podcast quick like this. If it finishes at a reasonable time, then we'll do a video. See you tonight.